Napalm's Crossfire / I'm So Into You. I'm going to break down the first guitar part, give some advice on the singing, and then move on to the chords for I'm So Into You. So let's take a look at that. First we have kind of that pickup lick, which is the chromatic movement from A to B. And the way I do it is by hammering on with my middle finger from the 5th fret to the 6th fret, and then sliding up with my pointer finger to the 7th fret for that B minor chord. And the way that Napalm plays that B minor chord is like she does most of her kind of major and minor 7 chords, is they're completely barred, the whole thing. And they include their ring finger on the 9th fret of the A string, just to hit that 5th in the chord. And you could just strum the whole thing, and you're good to go once you bar the whole thing. Next, after you give a couple strums of the B minor 7 chord, which she will do that kind of with all 5 fingers, right? Especially so you get that sound at the end in the higher strings, and do some rhythmical strumming. Alright, and feel free to really hit those strings. Careful, hit them with your nails, not your skin. The next part of the riff is this kind of figure. And Napalm doesn't do that all the time in the live performance. You hear it repeated in the recording, and so I like to include it in my live performance, but obviously it has a lot less energy than the other chords, right? Right? But that lick is 5 to 7, hammer on, and then going to 4 on the A string. And then here, once we get to the end of that lick, the 4th fret of the A string, we're going to do a C minor 7 chord. So that is the 4th fret of the A string, 6th fret of the D string, again the 4th fret of the G string, 5th fret of the B string, and then barred 4th fret of the high E string. And again, Napalm usually bars all in strings, and so in this case it is a C sharp minor 7 over G sharp. So we include that bass note there, and you will hear that sound before she hits the whole chord, right? So obviously she's skipping that sometimes. I find it important to skip sometimes, but not all the time. Also, sometimes skipping is a really great way to signal a new phrase beginning. For example, a crossroad is better than a crossfire. So in that case, I did not do the pickup into that phrase. Alrighty. So again, we have a B minor 7 that is hit. And when I do that lick, that last lick, I do usually hit that 4th fret of the A string one more time, so you can hear it, or else you're really not going to hear it. Okay, before we jump into the next part, I'm going to just talk about the timing for the singing in this section, and if you're not singing, if you're just playing guitar, feel free to move ahead. It is important to note that this is a pickup. So that chromatic phrase is a pickup into the downbeat of full measure. And so are the first lyrics of the song, when you fall in, and then love. Love is the beginning of our kind of like our downbeat where we have that pulse. It is important to begin this lick on the word in. When you fall in love, when you fall in love, when you fall in love, when you fall in love. And this second lick comes on the last syllable of love. fall in love, when you fall. That's hard, but yes, on the last syllable of love. I'm gonna do that one more time with you, or for you, and just notice when our hit's coming, when are the licks coming, and how they pair up with particular syllables. And so I'm gonna sing it slow so you can kind of make those connections. When you fall in love, when you fall in love, when you fall in love, when you fall in love. All right, so the next section is this lick right here. This is an inverted D major 7 chord, and that is a barring with your pointer finger on the 7th fret for our top 4 strings, D, G, B, and E. All right, and the first one we got our pinky on the 9th fret. So we have a D major right there, and once we take our pinky off, it's a B minor 7 chord over A here. And so that one's pretty easy. And finally we go to a D major 7, but in our first inversion up here. And Napalm doesn't really use this string per se, so there's really no need to play it. But I do play it as in this major 7 shape with the bass note on the A string, because I'm used to finding that chord really quickly instead of kind of like this shape of that. And you know, we're barring anyways, we need this pitch anyway, so why don't we just do the whole chord? So that's how I do it. Crossroad. So I'm not really hitting that A string as we're doing it. And then we go to a E over F sharp here, and I also bar that, or she also bars that. And we're not playing our high E string at this point. We're just playing up to the B string. That's where the note of our melody is. Crossroad is, right? And then after that, the barred from A to B, we are going to now adjust our finger all the way to our both E strings, the whole gambit, and put our pinky on the 11th fret of the high E string, and that will be our last chord. So that's like a C sharp minor 7, or C sharp minor 9, minor 9 right there. Better on better. So crossroad is better than a crossfire, and then we do our pickup into that. Luckily, like the verses of this first section don't have a pickup, so they're a little easier. I'll do them slowly just so you kind of see the guitar part and how it lines up with syllables. I have to think of it. How do I begin? How good it is to define when you call it a day. Before you've given it any of your time. A crossroad is better than a crossfire. Better than a crossfire. A crossroad is better when you fall in love. When you fall in love. Alright, so there's a slow version of it. As you can tell, I usually omit when it's the beginning of a new phrase. And I would watch Napalm perform it and see where is she kind of omitting certain things, where is she putting accents on the chords, just to give, because really it's very repetitive, and so to give it that variance, she kind of mixes it up a lot. Some things to note is we have a couple longer instances of this C sharp minor 7 over G sharp in the first section of the song. All right, was still rolling, so I'm gonna keep rolling. So the first instance is in the second verse, And let me recall that real quick. How do I begin when you're shooting me down, when you want my love, but you don't want to give any of yourself? So right here, Napalm's going to hold out the C sharp minor 7 over G sharp for a little longer for that vocal riff. And then we have a nice slow, like, rallentando version of the next lick. A crossroads, and a little bit longer, another C sharp minor 7 or C sharp minor 9. Better than a crossfire. Oh, fire. So we also have a bridge section in this song, but it is the same lick as before. How to keep when, for the next phrase, we skip the C sharp minor 7 and go right back to the D major 7 over A, sorry. When it turns to bitter use, skip the C sharp minor, go back. How do I give love when it's serving only you? Now, it's important to note, that is pretty much the way Napalm plays it, except for she bars her major 7 chords. So the pinky's coming over to the 5th of C sharp and, the D major 7 chord. Yeah, the 5th of D major, and using her pointer finger and ring finger here. But it is important to note that we are actually already on that chord down here when we get to it. So when it, how do I give love when it's serving only? But we're already at this chord. You. So this is the same chord. You. So an alternative than doing it like Napalm, which is jumping up here, is really just to stay there. We're already grabbing that D minor chord or D major 7 chord for this note. Right? So you could just stay there. And we do stay at that D major 7, so I'll do it the way she does. You, a crossroad is better than a crossfire. And we keep going. So at the very end of that kind of bridge section, just know, instead of jumping up here, as Napalm does to get the D major 7, we are already there for that D major 7 within the other lick. Alright, so we have ended the Crossfire section, la 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 la, very low, I can't sing that low, on the C sharp minor 7 chord over G sharp. And the next part is I'm So Into You, and then we have kind of like a slide into a B minor 7. And I usually do, I think she might hammer on, I'm not sure, but I just slide into it. I think you're truly something special, just what my dreams are made of. Let's stay together, you and me, boy. There's no one like you around. Ooh, baby, baby, well, I really like what you've done to me. I can't really explain it. I am so into you. Alright, so I think by now you have gotten that I am really just playing B minor 7 and C sharp minor 7. That's all I'm doing. Back and forth. I do like to kind of add those fourths in there for variance because it's very repetitive, right? And I did add a F sharp minor 7. I am so in, but if you do an F sharp minor 7, be careful. because you'll be a half step away with this note from the actual melody. Into you. So maybe it's just safer to stay with C sharp, but I love to do fun stuff there. Alright, skipping to the end, G sharp minor. I am so. We're going to jump up to C sharp minor. Into you. So go a little slower because I messed it up the first time. G sharp minor is, we're going to kind of just finger out the same way. I do it with all my fingers. Again, Napalm does bars it. But at this point, it's a cover. It's not actually a Napalm song. So I just relieve myself of barring everything. And that is point your finger on the 4th fret of the E string, skipping the A string, going to the D string, 4th fret, G string, 4th fret, B string, 4th fret. Now A major 7. Let's check if this is still on. It is still on. A major 7. And that is 5th fret, E string, skipping the A string, going to the D string, 6th fret, G string, 6th fret, and our middle finger is on the 5th fret of the B string. So, and we're going to jump to C sharp. We've done this one before. Into, and B minor then. And I like to throw in our 4th here instead of our 5th because I think it's a nice ender, but you do whatever you want. You can do the 9th. You can grab the actual pitch if you do the 9th. Alright, I hope that was helpful.